If building muscle is the goal, there's a few considerations that you need to think about. And there are things that people don't really look at too often. Like a lot of times people will go into the gym and they'll just think, right, I need to lift as heavy as I can, or I need to increase the weight load every single week in order to grow muscle. And that's the wrong approach to take. And I know that might sound confusing because you'll hear a lot of people being like, no, you need to lift heavy, and you do, and you need to increase the weight load over time. But there's other factors and considerations that you have to look at in order to build muscle. And I wish I knew these years ago, because I've probably wasted about 4 years pissing about, for want of a better word, not applying these principles. And I want to show you how to apply them by actually taking you through a gym session. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to run through a bit of a gym session, show you some considerations to have a look at when training, and then you can apply these to your training to get a better response and grow more lean tissue. So let's get straight into it. So just before we go in, let's get the pre-workout in. Already have my creatine, already have my electrolytes. Got the Perform pre-workout. I don't think I asked for lemon sherbet, but that's what I got. Gonna try it out and let's see if it's tasty or not. Smells nice. I'm only gonna take half of this because I already had a coffee today, and I think there's like 300 milligrams of caffeine in this. So yeah, I don't want to have a heart attack. I am a little bit sensitive to caffeine. I need to take it all in before 12 o'clock, otherwise I can't sleep. Okay, smelled nice, looks pretty good. Let's taste test. It's actually really nice. Like, I didn't ask for a lemon sherbet. Well, I thought I didn't. It came on the document. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but yeah, it's really fucking nice, actually. Okay, let's go to the gym. We're on our way, ready to go to the gym, and let me tell you, it is freezing outside. Don't know if you can see that there, but covered in snow. I'm still getting used to this gimbal, by the way, so if it's up and down, I do apologise. But yeah, covered in snow. Looking forward to getting back into the Dubai weather or heat. Let's get it. Okay, we are here, we're at the gym, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the principles before I actually apply them in the gym themselves. So two things that I really look at for my clients, for my own program, to get the best results possible in terms of building lean muscle tissue is progressive overload and bringing a high intensity to the fore. And what I mean by this, the first thing we have to have a look at is you need to have a high level of intensity in every single session that you do. If you really want to grow muscle, that's what you have to do. You have to elicit some sort of a response, get muscle protein synthesis into play. And the cue that I'll always tell all my clients is take every single set that you do to 2 reps shy of failure. 0 to 2 reps shy of failure is a really good marker. And when I say every single set, I mean working sets. You obviously have back off sets, you have warm up sets, etc. But when you're in your working sets, let's take them as close as we can to failure. So 0 to 2 reps left in the tank is what you're looking for. And it's something that I've been applying quite a lot now recently, is actually quality over quantity. So I've been reducing the volume in terms of sets for a lot of my clients. We're really focusing in the kind of 2 to 3 sets range per exercise, but with the idea of saying is let's really focus on the quality of each movement that we perform and taking it to that higher level of intensity, instead of giving someone 4 kind of sets and only doing it half-ass, really, for want of a better word. And it seems to be working really well. So that's what you want to have a look at. You want to be able to take every single set 0 to 2 reps shy of failure, and ask yourself that question. Say to yourself after every single set, could I have gotten more than 2 reps? If the answer is yes, you need to progressively overload that movement or make it a little bit difficult. Whether that's through weight load, rep range, sets, tempo, whatever way you want to execute it, but you have to do something. So I'll give you a working example of that once I head into the gym here. The second thing you have to have a look at is progressive overload. And this is a big one that a lot of people kind of mess up on. They think the only way to progressively overload is to increase the weight load all the time. And what typically happens here is there's just ego lifting involved. So apologies as well, I have a cold, but there's just a load of ego lifting involved, and then the form goes out the window. They're not completing the necessary sets or reps just because they want to lug a little bit more weight on, and it's just the wrong approach to take. So a really good way to actually progressively overload is earn the rep range first before you move up the weight load. So again, one thing what I'll do when I'm programming is give all my clients rep ranges. And the idea about this is that they can start at the bottom, work their way up to the top end of that set or that rep range, and then they can increase the weight load. So prime example, if I'm doing a leg press and I've put 100 kilo on it and I have 9 to 12 reps, I want to be pushing that for about 9 reps, 0 to 2 reps shy of failure. So let's say that's the 100 kilo marker, for instance, keep it simple. over the next few weeks, instead of trying to increase the weight load all the time, I'll try work up the rep ranges. So I'll go from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. And only then, when I get up to the top end of that set or that rep range, I will then drop back down to 9, but go up to 110 or 115 or whatever it may be. Maybe not as big of a jump, but you get the idea. And the concept, the theory about this is earn the rep range first before you move up to the the weights. So it's kind of, think of it like a level, like when you're playing PlayStation or Xbox. Like, you have to progressively overload through each level to get better and better and better. It's the same concept. So I'm going to apply that into my leg session today and show you guys how that works and take you through the whole thing. So let's go and let's do the session. Okay, so here's me setting up on a hamstring curl, and I'm going to show you how I push this to 2 reps shy of failure, or cues to show that you're pushing it to that level of intensity. So as you'll see over the next few reps, I'll really start to struggle, and 2 visual cues that you can have a look at is my facial expressions. I really start to hone in on it, as you can see here, really starting to struggle from those facial features, and my speed at which I'm doing the rep itself. So you can see the padding going in towards my hamstrings gets slower and slower, and on that last rep I actually fail or do a partial rep. So there's some visual cues that can show you to push it to a high intensity.
Okay, so that is just an example of taking it 0 to 2 reps shy of failure. Typically on machines, you probably can take it closer to failure just from a safety element. It's a little bit safer rather than going under a bar or doing a bench press or something like that. So I was doing the seated hamstring curl here. The goal here really is to push to 0 to 1 rep shy of failure. The recovery rate on this is a lot easier, a lot better. It's a machine, it's safer, and you can just push it that little bit higher. So that was just a prime example. And like, some cues that you're looking for there is look at someone's facial expression, or look at your own facial expression. Like, are you pulling these mad sort of faces? Because if you are, that typically is an indicator of you pushing it to the limits. Whereas if you're in doing a set and you're kind of looking around and then you're finished, you're not really pushing yourself to that true level that's there, that you're capable of. So that's something that you have to have a look at. Again, after the set, what I'll always gauge is, like, do I need a few seconds to actually just gather my thoughts? And if I do, then I know, okay, I've actually pushed that relatively hard. Whereas if you come out of the set and straight away you're jumping up and down, you're fine, you probably didn't work hard enough. Do you know what I mean? So there's some cues that you can have a look at. And then again, obviously within the set itself, like you could see there in that last set that I had, it was a partial rep. It wasn't even a full rep, but that's all I could physically do. So there's like some cues to have a look at that will massively help you from the intensity side of things. What I'm going to show you next then is the progressive overload ladder that I was talking about in terms of sets. So one thing I've been looking at is my RDLs. I'm trying to progressively overload those as the weeks go by. It's one of those movements that, like, once you get to a certain weight point, it's very hard to like always increase it from a weight load. So I've been trying to earn the reps first before I up the weight. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing there.
So here's me setting up for the 7 reps, and as you can see, I start to execute the movement. And by the way, if you see a vape and a phone on that bench, they are not mine, they are somebody else's. Just want to make that clear. But basically, we whacked out 7 reps altogether. You can see this last one was a bit of a grinder. Form started to fall off a little bit as well. I probably had one rep left in the tank to push for an 8th, but I decided not to sacrifice my form. But you can see I was still pretty tired. Had to come down and contemplate life for several minutes before I could get myself back up. And yeah, let me explain what I did here.
Okay, that was literally the set just done there. And that's a really good example of progressively overloading through your reps. You can still hear I'm absolutely knackered after that one. Basically, I've worked my way up to 150 kilo on my RDL, and I started off around 6 reps, and my rep range is 6 to 9 reps. So I wanted to nail down my form a little bit, so stuck at 6 reps for 1 or 2 weeks, quite difficult as is at 150, and now I'm trying to push up through my rep range just a little bit more. So I got 7 there. I think I'll stick at 7 next week, just to ensure. Basically, with my RDL, it's one of those that can go horribly wrong from a form perspective. A lot of people tweak their backs from it, so I would much rather get comfortable within that rep range for an extra week. Focus on the form, because executing your form and nailing your form is a way of progressively overloading. So that's what I'm going to do next week. Keep it at 7, and once I'm just double down sure on my form, I'll bring that up to 8, then up to 9, and once I get up to 9 reps, drop back down to 6, I might go 155, and that's kind of the goal there. But again, you could see that the intensity was applied there, because I literally struggled to bring the bar in, and when I did bring it in, I just dropped down. I was absolutely knackered. The hat came off and everything. So it's just a good example, 2 very simple things that you can apply to improve your training 10 times over and gain a good level of muscle tissue. So I'll just show you as a time lapse the rest of my Nothing too major, nothing too excessive, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed those videos. If you do, don't be afraid to like and subscribe. I've got to build this up, and the more people I can build it up to, the more advice I can give out to and reach other people as well. So yeah.
Okay, so usually I have a pivot leg press, but had to use the Gym Leco hip dominant press, and it absolutely humbled me. My rep ranges here are 10 to 15 and then 15 to 20, and I can actually only get 9 reps. So yeah, it was a really, really solid piece of equipment, and I finished off then with some adductors, 2 sets of 15 to 20, and then some cable crunches as well. Again, 2 sets 15 to 20, and that was the workout, and I hope you enjoyed the video.